Being busy is not the same as making progress. Most of us know this. We know it in our bones, right? But we still can't stop. If you ever ended your day completely exhausted, looked back at everything you did, and thought, why does it feel like nothing got done? This video is for you. I'm Stephanie. I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs cut through the swirl and find the one thing that actually matters right now. Today, we're talking about the overwhelm loop and what it actually is, why people get stuck in it, and how to step off of the wheel because you have to know that it's not a you problem. It's a pattern, and patterns can be broken. So let me describe this day. You might recognize it. It's happened to me many, many, many times. You sit down to do your work. Your list is long. Everything feels urgent. So you start with emails. That feels manageable, right? You answer a few, you flag a few, and then you get pulled into a thread you weren't expecting. An hour goes by. Oy, you move to your to-do list. Okay, now 23 things on it. Oh gosh, where should I start? So I'm going to do the 3 easiest things because at least I'm moving. Cool. By noon, you've been working for 4 hours, you're tired, and the actual thing you needed to move forward, the proposal, the content, the decision you've been avoiding, for me, it's the presentation I need to work on, it's untouched, right? So you decide you need a better system. You open a new app. You spend 45 minutes setting it up. Ooh, you feel really productive now. That night, you go to bed tired and vaguely behind, right? Sound familiar? That's the overwhelm loop. We never, it happens because we never stop to ask, what's the one thing that actually moves the needle today? It's that simple. The loop looks like this. Too many priorities, all feel equally urgent. You default to the easiest task to get a hint of productivity. The real work doesn't move. Anxiety builds. You get a new tool to manage the anxiety. Repeat, right? It feels like productivity, but it's not productivity. It's just motion. But we have no momentum within that motion. So, why does this happen to us, right? We're smart, we're capable, we're motivated. 3 reasons. Reason number 1, everything feels equally important. When you're running a business, especially solo or you have a really small team, there's always something that needs attention. Maybe it's marketing, maybe it's client work, it's admin, content, strategy, growth, right? And when everything feels like a priority, nothing actually is. Your brain treats it all as equally urgent and into kind of a decision paralysis, right? I can't possibly choose. They're all so important, right? The way out of this isn't prioritizing harder, it's getting honest about what actually moves your business forward versus what just feels productive. Reason number 2, we're wired to prefer certainty. Doing the easy stuff, answering emails, updating spreadsheets, reorganizing the plan, it's certain, right? You know how to do it, you can finish it, and you get the dopamine hit of completing it. Yay. But the real work, the thing that would actually move your business, it usually has more risk attached. What if it doesn't work? What if it's not ready? What if people don't respond? So your brain steers you toward the certain thing every time. Reason 3, more tools. I'm so guilty of this one. More tools make it worse, not better, right? The new planner, the new app, the new system. When we feel overwhelmed, the instinct is to add structure. So we get all these new things. But the research is clear. More options and more systems, it increases our cognitive load. It doesn't reduce it. You're not overwhelmed because your system isn't good enough. You're overwhelmed because you haven't identified the one thing that matters most. No app can do that for you. So what does the exit look like? How do we get out of this loop? The way off the hamster wheel is not a better wheel. It's just one question, and I've already said it a couple of times. What's the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier or even irrelevant? I know it sounds almost too simple, but when you ask that question, when you really sit with it, Your brain is forced to evaluate what's urgent, not what's urgent, but what actually matters. It stops scanning the whole list and it zooms in on the one thing with the highest leverage, the one thing that matters the most, right? And I find with everybody that I work with, you almost always know the answer already. You've known it for a while. You've just been avoiding it because it's the harder thing or the riskier thing or the thing that makes it real. Let me give you an example. I was working with a client who ran a service-based business, we'll say. She'd been building her website for like 8 months, long time. Every week we talked about it. Every week there was a new reason it wasn't quite ready. So I asked her if the website didn't exist as an obstacle, what's the one thing that would actually bring in a new client right now, right? That's what you need, clients, right? And if the website's not ready to do that, how else can you do that? Oh, right? Maybe reaching out to people, maybe scheduling more networking events, maybe just calling people or texting people, right? Um, yeah, you do the things. And she did that. She realized she had a few people in her head that she kind of had relationships with that had expressed interest that she needed to reach out to. So she did. She sent some messages, and guess what? She had a new client within a couple of weeks. The website, it got finished eventually, but it was never the real bottleneck. The overwhelm loop kept her on the website forever, right? She just kept getting overwhelmed. It was a hurdle she just couldn't get over, so she needed to stop. Ask the one question to get her to send 3 messages, right? Here's how to use this pattern interrupt in real time. When you notice you're spinning, like when you've been busy all morning doing all the things, but nothing feels like it's moved, stop first. Stop. Close your tabs. Okay, get out of your computer for a minute. Ask the question. And then write down the answer, like actually write it down. There's something that happens when you take pen to paper. And then do that thing that you just wrote down before anything else. That's it. It's not glamorous, but it works every time. Stop. What's one thing that matters? Write it down and then jump in and do it before you get sidetracked again. I want to draw one more distinction before we wrap up because I think it's kind of the key to all of this. Motion and momentum are not the same thing. Motion is activity, it's moving, right? It's doing things, the actual things, the emails, the meetings, the planning sessions, the to-do lists, all motion, right? Momentum is when your actions are connected to a clear outcome and each one builds on the last. It's the feeling of actually getting somewhere. It's what makes work feel energizing instead of just exhausting. You can have a lot of motion and zero momentum, and that's the overwhelm loop in a nutshell. The way to create momentum is not to do more. It's not to do more. It's to do the right thing, the one thing with the most leverage consistently, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. And the one thing is almost always simpler than what you've been doing. It's usually a conversation, a decision, or a single piece of work that you've been orbiting around for a while. And the overwhelm loop makes you think it's complicated, but it isn't. You just need to stop, ask the question, trust the answer, and do it. All right, here's your homework. Today, before you do anything else, ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier or maybe even irrelevant? Right? Write it down. Do that first. That's it. That's the one thing. Done first every single day this week. See what shifts. See if you get a lot more done, a lot more accomplished, a lot more momentum. All right? If you're ready to go deeper on this, to actually break the loop for good instead of just managing it, I invite you to take the Calm Clarity or to download the Calm Clarity Reset. It's a free 20-minute process that walks you through exactly this. The link's in the description. And if you want to work through a specific overwhelm loop with me, your business, your situation, your one thing, we can do that on a Clarity Kickstart call, or you can even ask questions in the Clarity Lounge. All those links are below. Would love to see you there. Subscribe if you're new. I post videos every week. It's always practical, always real. No filter here. I'm just talking. So if you want to join the conversation, drop your one thing in the comments. What's the high leverage move you've been avoiding? Name it. That's the first step off the wheel. Thanks for being here. Go find your one thing. Have a great day.